Downtown Manhattan has some of the most iconic and livable neighborhoods in New York City, each one with its own personality and pace. In today's video, we're gonna break down the top 3, Tribeca, Soho, and the West Village. We're gonna cover everything. So the feel, what it's like to live in each neighborhood, the lifestyle, what it's like to live in some of these buildings, the cost of living, everything you're gonna need to know to decide if this is a place for you. So whether you're looking to live downtown or just looking to see what might meet your lifestyle, this video is for you. I have to say, I'm super fortunate. I live in Tribeca. I love this neighborhood. So I don't know, this first neighborhood, I might come off as extremely biased, but I think you're gonna be excited to learn about each one of them because they all have their own personality and they are all so different, even though they are so close to one another. So let's go start with Tribeca. Most people, when they think of Tribeca, they think of the Tribeca Film Festival, they think of cobblestone streets, old warehouse buildings, but honestly, that is just the tip of the iceberg. So what is it really like to live here? For me, if I had to break it down into one word, that word would be calm. And even though we're out filming today, it's a Friday afternoon and we've got honking going on behind us because there's the Holland Tunnel traffic, Tribeca is a very calm and residential place to live. Okay, so let me explain why I say calm when we've got honking traffic going on behind us. One of the things about Tribeca is that once this traffic is done, probably in about another hour and a half, this neighborhood just completely quiets down. So Tribeca is made up of a lot of different pockets. We're in the northwest section of Tribeca. There's a lot of low-lying buildings and wide streets. So it's low density. There's a lot of families that are here because there's a great public school. There's a lot of private schools, good nursery schools for the kids. So it's definitely a magnet for families. You have Goldman Sachs, where their offices are located very close to here. So you do have a lot of finance people that live in Tribeca. You have a lot of creatives that also live in Tribeca. So, many that are still here back when they founded Tribeca, when it was abandoned warehouses, a lot of artists moved in here as well. That happened in Soho too. You also have a lot of celebrities when you think of creatives because Tribeca is very private. There's a lot of doorman buildings. There's a couple buildings where they're able to pull in underground so that they don't get paparazzi'd. It's very peaceful and people leave the celebrities alone as a result of all of that. They're used to seeing them, so it's nothing shocking to have, somebody like Jake Gyllenhaal or Blake Lively just walk by you as you're walking down the street. But Tribeca also, in addition to kind of this northwest pocket that we're in, it has several other pockets that are very unique and interesting. There's a cast iron section that is on the east side of Tribeca that runs between Church and Broadway Street. So those are very typical loft style buildings, similar to what you would find in Soho. And then you have the middle section of Tribeca, which is more landmarked warehouse buildings. There hasn't been much new development in that area other than a couple conversions of those warehouse buildings. And then a little bit further south, as you get closer to the World Trade Center, you do have some more vertical, tall buildings. So think of your glassy new development buildings. There's one here people call the Django building. That building is a Herzog and de Meuron building. Its actual address is 56 Leonard. So there you do have these tall helicopter view style buildings of Tribeca, and that's some of what really gives this neighborhood its characteristic. And one last thing, there are 5 blocks in Tribeca that stretch along the Hudson River with no obstruction. So those 5 blocks, again, northwest Tribeca, are some of the most coveted blocks because they have residential living with direct waterfront views. Okay, we found a really great spot for you here in Tribeca to showcase the variety of inventory that we have here. And then I also wanted to show you the one really famous, most popular tourist place that people do come to. It's like the only spot that we get tourists, and it's the Ghostbusters fire station that's right across the street. So you even see the little no ghost sign there. And we do have groups of tourists, but anyway, that's a popular spot. So, okay, so starting over here. So this building right here is a good example of a ground up new construction building that had to fit within the context of the neighborhood. So it looks very similar. It looks almost like it could have been here for a while, but it's not. That one's new construction. Back here, up there is what everybody calls the Jenga building. So that is, again, that's 56 Leonard, and that is a very glassy helicopter view type building. And then if you come around here, these are the warehouse buildings that are very typical, kind of in the middle section of Tribeca. So these warehouse buildings over the years have been converted to residential living. Some of them were converted maybe 40 or 50 years ago. So they've been like that for a long time. So they have kind of a very rustic type of feel. So it is a true eclectic mix. Some of them are co-ops, some of them are condos. We don't have many townhouses in Tribeca. There's, honestly, a very, very small handful of them. Okay, so we actually forgot to share one of the most important things about Tribeca, and that is what Tribeca stands for. Tribeca is the triangle below canal. And that actually isn't the shape of Tribeca. So it's a block below canal, and in between Lispenard, which is literally a little sliver of a triangle. I actually lived on Lispenard for a number of years when I first moved here. So that is the section I mentioned earlier about the cast iron buildings. And then we wanted to share with you another fun spot that we found. We're actually standing in front of the original building where Taylor Swift bought in Tribeca. So all you Swifties out there, this is where she once lived. She had a lot of activity, a lot of paparazzi going on there. So she did ultimately move, but I want to now get into everything that there is to do in Tribeca. Here are some of my favorite places in Tribeca. So I spent a lot of time down at Laughing Man Coffee, which was founded by Hugh Jackman. So that's one of the most popular places here in Tribeca. As far as restaurants go, Bubby's is one of these really great restaurants that people line up for an hour, 2 hours for brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. They're known for their pancakes. I think they put sour cream or something really fattening in them, but they are really delicious, and they're like, each one is like this thick, so it's kind of crazy. And then down the street is La Conda Verde. That's founded by Robert De Niro. It's in the Greenwich Hotel, and that they have the gabagool from The Sopranos. So if you know what gabagool is and you want it, that's where you would go. I don't even really know what it is, but gabagool. And also then in the center of Tribeca is the Roxy. So the Roxy is a great hotel. It's not that expensive. So if you're coming to stay in Tribeca, it's a great place to stay. It's not super fancy, but it's nice. But they also have a lot going on there. So they have jazz almost every night. There's a restaurant, there's a coffee shop, there's a movie theater. So it's a place that locals go to and people who are coming into town. So the Hudson River Park is privately funded, which I think is super interesting. It's not funded by the city. Actually was at a gala last week supporting the Hudson River Park. They do a great job. There's a bike path, there is a walking and running path, there is all kinds of landscaping there. So they have a whole horticulture program that goes on there. They have kayaking, they have mini golf. There's 2 piers that stretch out in front of Tribeca. And this is that section I mentioned earlier, kind of those 5 blocks where the buildings kind of are facing the waterfront. This is about that area or stretch of Tribeca where these piers sit. There's a dog park, there's kids playgrounds where they have water features coming up, so it's great in the summer. And those playgrounds over there are huge. They have also, there's a boat that's anchored there, that's a restaurant and an oyster bar, and City Winery is there. So a lot of people love City Winery because they have a rooftop and they have a lot of outdoor space. So when it's warm, it's packed. So those are some of my favorite spots. I spend a lot of time in the Hudson River Park because I have 2 small dogs and that's where I take them to walk. So, you know, funny story, like when you have dogs in New York City, they're mostly trained to go on concrete because there's not much grass. And because we live so close and that's where we take the dogs, my one dog will not go on concrete. He will only go on grass. So it is great to be across from the park, and it is one of the most cherished things for all Tribeca residents. Okay, so one of the other amazing aspects about Tribeca is the connectivity. And I know I'm gonna say this for Soho and the West Village, but it's true. So Manhattan starts to go like this when you go further south, and Tribeca is the beneficiary of that narrowing of the tip of Manhattan. And so as a result, almost all of the subway lines come through this neighborhood. So you have the red 123, which is actually, this is the Franklin station that we're standing behind. You have the red 123, the blue ACE. You have on the east side, you have the NRQW, and then just a little further east from there, you have the 456, which is the green line. So it's very easy to get from Tribeca to either financial district or to Midtown. And then of course, you know, like city bikes everywhere in the city. And I think there's over 30,000 city bikes here in the city and over 2,000 stations. So if you're a biker, it's great. We're in front of the Franklin station, and here's a ton of bikes. This amount of connectivity, easy access to get around the city is what makes this neighborhood so desirable. So you combine the ease of access of transportation with this really incredible environment with such diverse inventory, and it just makes this neighborhood really stand out from so many others. And again, I'm a little biased, but it is what it is. Tribeca is a great place to live. And now we're gonna get into the cost of living here. Okay, so we're gonna do a little walking and talking because we need to go look at a new listing that we're pitching. And on the way there, we're gonna break down the cost of living for you. So Tribeca zip code is 10013. It's the most expensive zip code in the city. All right, so one bedrooms, generally you wanna budget from 1.9 million to probably about 3 million. It just depends on the inventory. So if it is, say, in a brand new condo building with lots of amenities, you're probably looking at the higher price point. Two bedrooms generally start maybe 3.5 to 4 million. 4.5 million, 5 million would be reasonable for our ultra luxury. And then for three bedrooms, you're really looking 6, 7, 8 million and up. So there is a wide range. You start to get waterfront, you're talking 10 million and up. So we're really getting into the ultra luxury product. That's why it's the most expensive zip code. Now, if you're thinking of try before you buy, because a lot of people do come here and they rent before they buy just to make sure they're in the right location. Our rents in Tribeca are also very expensive. So a studio apartment could be around $4,300 a month. A one bedroom is gonna run around $6,000, $7,000 a month. And then two bedrooms really $10,000 to $12,000 or more. These numbers are all super dependent upon the product, the location, doorman, amenities, all of that. So there are options to live in Tribeca at very different numbers. I think these are the Canal Street guys, the handbags that are calling it a day, but that's, you know, New York City. It's a very eclectic place. Okay, so we hopped over to the east side of Tribeca just to give a little look of the cast iron buildings. And one thing that I didn't mention yet is the fact that this section of Tribeca has become known for its galleries. So there was a moment in time where there really wasn't much commercial activity going on these blocks. And so some of the galleries started moving over here because they started in Soho, they got priced out of Soho, they went over to West Chelsea, they got priced out of there, and so now they're over here. So this is a great little pocket, great little section, a lot of lofts, cast iron buildings. And, you know, I've said a lot about Tribeca and more than I ever thought would come out of this mouth, but I think it's obvious because I live here. I've been in Tribeca for 18 years and I'm very passionate about it. We know it. I know it like the back of my hand. Tribeca for me is home. So I really know this neighborhood super well. So if you are trying to balance kind of a quiet luxury lifestyle with great access and great transportation, this neighborhood is it. And we're gonna start heading over to Soho next, and we can't wait to show you how great Soho is. Hi, I'm Heather Domi, and I lead the Heather Domi team. We help our clients find the perfect home here in New York City, but we don't just help them find the perfect home, we help them find the perfect neighborhood. So, if you're thinking of moving to New York City and you want to know what the best neighborhood for you and your lifestyle is, that's what we are here for. We're here to help guide you. So whether it's Tribeca, Soho, West Village that we're talking about today, or even the Upper East Side or the Upper West Side, that's what we specialize in, and we are more than happy to help. So just please feel free to reach out. Okay, so I wanted to show you how closely connected Tribeca and Soho are. So we were just standing on the northern edge of Tribeca and we're crossing Canal Street. And as soon as we cross the street, we're gonna be in Soho. So come on, let's go check out Soho together, where I can show you everything there is to know and love all about Soho. All right, so when we started on Tribeca, we talked about one word that explained Tribeca, and that word was calm. If I give you that one word for Soho, that is energy. Soho is full of energy, and there's a number of reasons why. Most people, when they think about Soho, they think about the cast iron architecture, they think about shopping, they think about galleries and artists, and they don't necessarily think about what it's like to live here in Soho. So that's what we're gonna talk about. We're gonna break down living in Soho. Soho is also an acronym. It stands for South of Houston, just like how Tribeca had an acronym. And as you saw, it's located just north of Tribeca, and on the northwest corner sits the West Village. So all three of these neighborhoods are interconnected. Soho was once the center for the New York City art scene and has changed and evolved over the years for a number of reasons. I'm gonna explain what some of those are. But today, it's most known for its cast iron architecture, shopping, cobblestone streets, and really it's just fabulous energy. The people in Soho have evolved over the years. So from the 60s and the 70s, you had a lot of artists and founders that kind of created Soho what it's known for today. Over the years, that's evolved. Many of the artists have moved out. There are still some of those existing artists here, but what we have today, we have a lot of tech entrepreneurs, we have a lot of investors, very fashionable New Yorkers. That really makes up the residents of Soho. And then as far as what goes on day to day, during the week, you see your locals. Weekends, you have more tourists and shoppers. So Soho can be very crowded on the weekends. And then the energy for Soho really ends up being a nice mix between the new and the old. So that really kind of blends together very nicely in the neighborhood. And for locals, the weekend congestion is just part of New York City's authenticity. I already spoke a little bit about who lives here, your founding artists. You have a lot of legacy artists that are still occupying Soho today that really make up the fabric of the community. But beyond that, beyond kind of the tech founders and the investors and whatnot, you do have a lot of affluent young professionals who live here. You have a lot of second home buyers, international pied-à-terre buyers who love living here. You don't have as many families who live here. And that's because there really aren't schools here in Soho. So if you have school-age children and you're living in Soho, you're gonna be sending them to school in the West Village or down to Tribeca. So it is, it's less ideal also because the sidewalks here, Soho is very old. They've kept a lot of the authenticity of the sidewalks, the cobblestone streets. So pushing strollers around Soho is not so ideal. And on top of that, again, for schools, you have to leave. And even in Soho, like if you're a pet owner, I have 2 small dogs. So if I have my dogs on the weekends, I typically, I won't bring them here. And God forbid if I ever do, I actually pick them up and carry them because it's just too crowded. And yes, there's lots of honking that can happen, a little bit of congestion here and there depending on the time of day in Soho, but that's what we know and love about New York City. But anyway, so from the dog perspective, if you have small dogs, like you're likely gonna pick them up and carry them because it's just safer. So I think that pretty much kind of sums up who's living here in Soho. One thing I just have to say and add a little bit of color, I have clients who I have found homes here, and some of the things that they love about Soho is that when they come into town, there's no commute whatsoever. They just walk out their door and there's tons of shopping, great restaurants. They can have a complete social life here, and it's all at their fingertips. So it is really convenient for somebody who, when they're coming in for a short time as a second homeowner, just right outside their door. Okay, so we've mentioned cast iron architecture, and I want to talk about that a little bit. Soho consists of a lot of cast iron buildings. In fact, there's more than 200 cast iron buildings here in Soho, and it's the largest collection of cast iron buildings in the world. As a result, Soho is a landmarked area. It's known as the Cast Iron Landmark District. I want to get into a little bit about the type of inventory characteristics of of these buildings because then it kind of makes sense as to what it's like to live here in Soho and what the inventory looks like. So these cast iron buildings were originally manufacturing buildings. And over the years, a lot of the manufacturers moved out of the city because of affordability issues. So as they had bridges and tunnels and all that stuff, it just made more sense to do the manufacturing over either in New Jersey or Brooklyn. So soon you had all of these loft buildings that were abandoned, and in the 60s, 70s, artists started moving in and working in these spaces that weren't meant to be lived in. And so there was some zoning that took place that allowed these artists to live in the lofts as artists in residency, so live work spaces. That's when the galleries then started coming in, and Soho became known as a gallery district. So the galleries started getting pushed out because of the expensive rents. And then fashionable New Yorkers wanted to live in Soho in a cool loft. And over time, they started buying these lofts from these artists and converting them into luxury residential spaces. Now, because of the landmarking, there are not a lot of new development opportunities in Soho. There's a lot of height restrictions. So if developers do come in, they have to go through Landmarks Commission. The building has to be contextual with the environment. So if it's new development, it kind of has to look like a cast iron building or at least fit into some degree. Over time, developers have of course taken opportunity to build new developments whenever they can here in Soho. Usually it's resulted in some amazing product with starchitects like Jean Nouvel or Gwathmey Siegel, Annabelle Seldorf. So you can get some really exceptional new development condominiums here. They have to conform with certain landmark regulations, fit in with the environment, and they have height restrictions, but they're really quite special. So that's one of the things that we do best. We know Soho like the back of our hand. So whether you're looking for that true old style loft feeling, or you want to just live in this environment in a really great new construction, we help you find those opportunities. Days here in Soho start with cappuccino at Ground Support or St. Ambrose. You often are going to be shopping on Green Street, Mercer, Wooster. You're going to brunch at either Sadelle's or Cipriani's. And dinners often end up at Raoul's or Balthazar or even Blue Ribbon Sushi. There's so many options here though that you have to choose from, which is one of the fabulous things about Soho. It gives you an incredible lifestyle. But let me tell you, there's definite pockets of Soho that you need to know how to navigate and how to get around. So it's on a grid. It's kind of almost like a north-south grid. Mercer, Green, and Wooster are kind of your more intimate shopping streets. And then Broome, Grand, they go across town. Broadway and 6th Avenue kind of are on the sides. Those are your major thoroughfare streets. So 6th Avenue heads north, Broadway heads south. And among all that, there's some Holland Tunnel traffic. So figuring out where you need to be, where you want to be, if you want to be living above Broome, below Broome, sometimes that also impacts value. So the point I'm getting at is that it's very nuanced, and that's one of the things that we're here for, is to help you with those nuances to make sure that you're in the right location that not only is going to be convenient for your lifestyle, but also give you the best value. Everyone knows Soho for its shopping, but what's the true cost of living in Soho? It might seem effortless to live here in Soho. However, it doesn't come cheap. So if you want to talk about rentals, a 1-bedroom rental in Soho is going to start around $7,000 a month. Studios generally are around $5,000 starting. If you can find one, they're super rare. And then when you're looking at 2 bedrooms, they generally start around $11,000 to $12,000 a month. Now, if you're looking to buy here in Soho, the entry to buy in Soho, it can range. It depends on really the product type. You could find something starting around $1.4 million for a 1-bedroom, but generally I would say you should probably budget at least for $2 million for a 1-bedroom. Again, if you can find it, there aren't many 1-bedrooms here. As far as 2-bedroom lofts, you should expect $3 to $3.5 million as a starting price. We have a mix of inventory too, whether it's condo or co-op, and then some have amenities and some don't. There's very few doorman buildings here because of lofts. The loft buildings generally have anywhere from 5, starting with 5 units to maybe 12 units. Those are about as big as the loft buildings go. So those buildings generally don't have doorman. And if you're looking at 3 bedrooms, really you're starting around $6 to $7 million. And those are starting prices. Prices can definitely go higher depending on the type of product and the luxury that it offers. At the end of the day, finding the right property here in Soho is nuanced. It is a block by block type of situation. The inventory is so varied, and knowing whether you're making the right decision for your lifestyle and your budget is something that we help identify for you to take out all of the guesswork. I know I've already mentioned how central Soho is, how it's located right by the West Village, right by Tribeca. I didn't mention we're also just below Greenwich Village and NoHo and Nolita on the other side. So it really is sandwiched in the middle of some really, really great areas. But also what comes with that is the connectivity and the fact that all of the subway lines run either through or very close to Soho. So you're the N, R, the 4, 5, 6, those are the yellow and the green. And then you've got the red, the 1, 2, 3, and the ACE over on the west side is very easily accessible, which allows you to get down to the financial district if you're working in Wall Street very quickly, or up to Midtown, even the east or the west side. If you're trying to decide which neighborhood is right for you, I think you really need to think about if you're really excited about the history, the artistic flair that Soho gives, the vibe, the energy, the access, incredible access here to amazing restaurants, all the shopping, everything that you would need, all at the palm of your hands, then I really think Soho is a place you need to consider. All right, so we're on the northwest corner of Soho, and I want to show you how connected these neighborhoods are. We're headed over to the West Village, our next neighborhood, top 3 in New York City, Tribeca, Soho, West Village. So we just went through 1 crosswalk, 2 crosswalk, we got 1 more to go, and we're in the West Village. So they are all super connected. And that's one of the greatest things about living downtown is the proximity to all of these great neighborhoods. So come on, let's go figure out what is so great about the West Village. If Soho feels like energy and Tribeca is calm luxury, the West Village is pure charm. It is cozy, walkable, cinematic, and you feel like you're in a European village in the middle of Manhattan. And what's it really like to live in the West Village? Let's walk through the neighborhood and talk about the lifestyle, the cost of living, and why so many people desire to live in the West Village, and once they're here, they never leave. When I think about the West Village, I think about intimate dinners, cozy bars, great little boutique shops, your little neighborhood stores. So there's a great pet store here with Susan, who's the proprietor, and she knows our dog's name. So it's that kind of neighborhood where everybody knows your name. There's a restaurant on every single corner. There's so many low-lying buildings here in the West Village. That's one of its hallmarks and characteristics. There's a lot of townhouses like what we're walking by right now. The neighborhood gets really excited about holidays. So it goes crazy for Halloween, it goes crazy for Christmas, and it's just a real community. It's an aspirational neighborhood that has been hallmarked by famous TV shows such as Sex and the City, where Carrie Bradshaw's townhouse exists, and the Friends apartment building. So many people come here, tourists, just to see those locations. And it just has become this idyllic place that when people want to move to New York City, this is what they think of. Okay, so we're here in the West Village. The West Village is actually west of Soho, and it's north of Tribeca. And the 3 neighborhoods, they all sit together, which I think that's one of the things that makes this area and these 3 neighborhoods so popular, is how close they are to one another. But each of the neighborhoods are very different, right? We've already gotten into Soho and Tribeca, and the West Village is known for its charm. The West Village was built in the 18th century. It was built before New York City was built on a grid system, so the numbered streets that go across and then the avenues that go up and down. The streets here, they curve in some cases. And on many of the streets, like this one right now that we're on Bank Street, they have townhouses. A lot of the townhouses, often they're single family homes, but sometimes over the years, they've been broken up into full floor residences. So it's such a mix of inventory. And then in addition to the townhomes and the brownstones, which by the way, one of the differences, everybody wants to know the difference between a townhouse and a brownstone. And it really is just the stone on the building. So some people think that it's multiple apartments in a brownstone, and a brownstone is just brownstone. So that's a great New York fact. But anyway, there's also a lot of condos and co-ops here, and this is a neighborhood that you get lost in. So you can just come here, you wander around. It's cozy cafe after cozy cafe. There's great shopping. It's kind of one of those neighborhoods where you feel like everybody knows your name. If you live here, you're gonna have your favorite spots and they're all gonna recognize you. You're definitely gonna be passing by celebrities. So you could be having coffee with Malcolm Gladwell one day, walking by Bradley Cooper or Jennifer Lawrence. So there's a lot of celebrity residences here, which kind of make it interesting and exciting, but it's everybody's on the super down low. Nobody bothers anybody. So that's kind of like a really nice aspect of living in New York City, is that they do get to live here anonymously, kind of among us, and everybody respects that. One of the reasons celebrities love the West Village is because of its artistic roots. The West Village has always been known as a strong artist community, and that artist community really shows up in so many different ways. So here's a great example. Bob Dylan shot an album cover on Jones Street, and actually many people will go to Jones Street and they will recreate that photo. It's one of those Beatles Abbey Road moments that really is an iconic thing for the West Village. We actually just sold a townhouse right in front of it, where the townhouse is actually on the cover of the album. But anyway, okay, in addition to the artist community that you find here in the West Village, there also is a strong LGBTQ+ community here. In fact, in 1969, there was a major uprising at the Stonewall Inn. And so that is something that the West Village is known for. It's very iconic monument, as a matter of fact. Also, you do have a lot of preservationists here in the West Village, which has resulted in really strict landmarking rules. So there is the Landmark Preservation Commission. And so even something as simple as your wrought iron fence, you can't change the color without getting permission. But that has maintained the integrity of the West Village. The West Village, so, we're walking by all these townhouses now. All these townhouses, they all have beautiful gardens behind the townhouses. And so that's what you think of when you think of the West Village. You think of fireplaces, you think of courtyard gardens, and then you think of these beautiful tree-lined streets. And then they also get really into their holidays here. So they get really excited about Halloween and Christmas. And it's mid-October, so we're starting to see all the fun Halloween stuff pop up. This one is a more elegantly designed Halloween display. And then in addition to kind of this really great Halloween stuff, they go crazy over Christmas. So one of the things our team actually specializes in is townhouses. Townhouses are very unique because they are really old structures. Many of them in the West Village are 150 years old. They have had different uses over the years. Many started as single family, then they get broken into multifamily. Then it just depended on kind of the era and what was going on. So think of the Depression era, and they were broken into a million different apartments, and then maybe they were changed back again to single family use. So we have lots of issues, whether it is current certificate of occupancy, open permit issues, lots of different nuances with townhouses, and that's what we specialize. If it's hard, I like it. I like difficult deals, so that's why we love townhouses. That also means they're really special. So if you have any questions about townhouses, that's what we're here for. Give us a call. We love working with townhouse buyers and sellers all the way around. So we just talked about townhouses. I want to talk a little bit about some of the other inventory here in the West Village. We do have a number of co-ops. So co-ops or cooperatives that we've talked about in other films, those are where you own shares in a corporation. And those are buildings that are older buildings that have been here for a good number of years, probably early 1900s is probably when most of those have been built. And that is one form of ownership that is here. And then as far as condos or condominiums go, there's a variety of condos here that have been cropping up over the last 20 to 25 years. So it really all started over on the West Side Highway with these glassy Richard Meier towers that are quite famous. And then since then, developers have been finding plots of land whenever and wherever they can to build new construction condos. So it really depends on the size of the lot, what they're able to build. There is going to be a process with the Landmark Commission in which it has to be contextual. There's going to be height restrictions. And the one major thing about condos in the West Village is they come at an extreme premium. So anything that's new in the West Village, they are gonna build it to the highest level because they can get the highest price point here. So they come at a premium, but they also usually come with really great finishes and a lot of amenities if they can fit them in. So amenities can range from pools to really great gyms to kids' playrooms, concierge services, parking if it's available based on the site restrictions. It is often really self-containing. The West Village lifestyle is idyllic. It has been romanticized for years on television, and it is one of those neighborhoods where you just walk out and you have a trendy coffee shop on every block. Some of the highlights of Mad Men Espresso, Do Not Feed Alligators. Those are two really great trendy coffee shops that people love going to. And then as far as a restaurant, there are so many options here in the West Village. You have new restaurants opening all the time, classic neighborhood staples, Don Angie, Via Carota. You have Bavette, Fort Charles, which is known for excellent cheeseburgers if you can get in. But those are just a few of the neighborhood staples. This neighborhood has an incredible vibe. You could be having your morning coffee with Malcolm Gladwell. You could walk down the street and walk right past Bradley Cooper. So that's kind of the fun. All right, so condos definitely have their perks because they come with amenities quite often, and they're new and they're kind of that shiny new object. But like I said, they come at a premium and they are often sold off market. They never come to market because there is such a high demand here. And so that's one of the things. We've done a ton of deals here in the West Village. We're very attuned with what's going on, the new developments, the projects, and we help our buyers get in before they sell out or before they ever come to market. The West Village is an incredibly diverse neighborhood. You have people who have been here for 40 and 50 years. You have local artists, you have families, you have young professionals, you have people who have retired here. So it just has a little bit of something for everyone. You have really good schools here. So you have great public schools, a few good private schools. There are children's playgrounds in the neighborhood. So it makes it really convenient and fun for families who live here. It's right on the West Side Highway, so the Hudson River Park is directly across the street. So there are playgrounds there, dog runs there. It's really great for an active lifestyle. So, anybody who really kind of values all that the West Village has to offer, from its charm to its history. So you've got the Sex and the City building, and there's always tourists there checking that out. The Friends building, always there as well. It's just part of the nature of the village because it is so charming. It's what people want to take in when they're here visiting. And then of course there's the shopping in the West Village. So there are so many great little curated boutiques, but Bleecker Street is very well known for really great shopping. So you have some very well-known brands that you're gonna find there, but you're gonna find some very cute curated shops. You're gonna have Magnolia Bakery, which is there. So they're famous for their cupcakes. And when you're done with the shopping, let's talk about the parks. So you have great access to the Hudson River Park, which is one of my favorite places. It's a stretch all along the West Side Highway for 4 miles. That is just absolutely exceptional, with great piers that have lots of activities for you to participate. People run on the Hudson River, they bike. So it is just one of our most beautiful aspects of living in Manhattan is Hudson River Park. And if you're interested in an active and healthy lifestyle, the West Village is great. Abington Square has a wonderful farmers market where they bring food from the farms upstate that you have easy access to. All right, so listen, if you're somebody who you think you're gonna value kind of all these unique characteristics of the West Village, these streets that are not on a grid, and the brownstones and all of the tree-lined streets, and kind of this sense of community and the history and the charm, then this is a neighborhood that I think you should definitely explore, because honestly, once somebody lives in the West Village, it is very hard for them to live anywhere else. West Village charm does come at a premium. So now we're gonna talk about the cost of living. Average 1-bedrooms here run around $6,500 a month, whereas average 2 bedrooms are around $7,000 to $9,000 a month. Townhouses often can get into 5 figures. Now, as far as buying here in the West Village, there are obviously ranges of prices, but 1-bedrooms generally start around 1.2 million, and I'd say 2-bedrooms generally start between 2.5 and 3 million. Depends on different aspects, whether you have a doorman, whether it's a co-op or a condo, whether you have amenities, and also what block it is and proximity to neighborhood services and amenities. The West Village never has very much inventory. I don't care if it's a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, or a 3-bedroom, there's never very much of it. And we actually have more bidding wars in the West Village than any other neighborhood as a result. And let me tell you, that's what we're here. We are here to help you be positioned in the very best position, so when that apartment that you're dying for comes on the market, we're able to secure it for you, because it is competitive. It requires a definite strategy, and working with someone such as us, that's what's gonna get it done. I know that we've talked a little bit about the fact that the West Village is a lot of low-lying buildings, which means that the inventory here in the West Village is limited. So with limited inventory, that means things sell fast. And then you add in how highly desirable this neighborhood is, how coveted it is, how people truly want to be here. That really creates high prices in the West Village. So this zip code, 10014, is actually one of the most expensive zip codes in Manhattan. So you have to be prepared that if you're gonna live in the West Village, it does come at a premium. There's always some exceptions, but that's what we're here for. We're here to help you figure out what is the right fit, whether it is finding a small studio co-op or a 1-bedroom co-op in a mid-century building. So that's where there are opportunities for more affordable options, or if you're looking for a luxury condo that has all kinds of amenities and is brand new, that shiny new object, we know when and where to find these things. And if you're wondering about the subway, since the West Village is kind of far west, we actually have 3 lines that run through the West Village. So you have the blue line, the ACE, the red, the 1, 2, 3, and the orange, B, D, F, and M. I don't take that one very much, so excuse me for not getting all of those out. But those all run through the West Village. And then a lot of people commute along the West Side Highway because we have the bike path. So if you ride City Bike, you can take the West Side Highway along the Hudson River Park. Okay, so we're talking about the West Village and its connectivity. The access to the West Village is great because it is nestled, and honestly, that is the AI's biggest word of the year, nestled in real estate. But anyway, the West Village is nestled in between Meatpacking to the north, Greenwich Village to the east, and then Soho. And then you have Hudson Square, which we used to call West Soho, but that's now Hudson Square is where the new Google campus is and the new Walt Disney campus. And then below that is Tribeca. So that's kind of the trifecta of West Village, Soho, and Tribeca, the trifecta Tribeca. But anyway, so, you know, we are just thrilled to be able to show you all of these neighborhoods because they are so unique and they are so loved and so coveted. And we are really fortunate that we get to sell and find people homes here in these areas, and that it's a treat to be able to show them to all of you. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help you be in the very best position so that when that apartment comes on the market, we're able to secure it for you and make sure that your dreams come true here in the West Village. So there we have it, the top 3 neighborhoods in downtown Manhattan, where downtown living is at its finest. Tribeca, Soho, and the West Village. Each one of them offer something absolutely different while all giving you that great downtown lifestyle. So Tribeca, you've got quiet luxury. West Village is all about timeless charm, and Soho is about the creative energy. Each of these neighborhoods offers something unique, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help you figure out which one of these neighborhoods is gonna match your lifestyle. So whether it's all about the commute, the neighborhood feel, the family environment, and the schools, those are some of the things that we're gonna investigate, help you figure out what works best for you. But either way, you can't go wrong with either of these neighborhoods. Okay, so stay tuned for our next video where we're gonna head uptown. We're gonna cover the Upper East Side and the Upper West Side, everything there is to know about each of those neighborhoods. And again, I'm Heather Domi, and if you have any questions about these neighborhoods or any other downtown neighborhoods, please don't hesitate to reach out. That's what we're here for. We specialize in matching the right neighborhood with your lifestyle.